Well, I'm not surprised this question came in. In the essential schedule for Old Western culture, I recommended Thucydides over Herodotus if someone is doing the accelerated schedule or reading, doing less reading and reading slower. And so they asked why? Why not Herodotus and why Thucydides? And it is a hard one because Herodotus is considered the father of history. He writes in a very engaging style. He's known for his digressios, his side trails, and interesting stories. And it is a very worthwhile read. Thucydides is even a little bit drier. But I'd like to explain a little bit why I think that Thucydides, if you have to choose between those two, and the real answer is don't choose between the two, read both. But if you have to choose between the two, the reason I would recommend Thucydides is that it had an unusually large and important impact on us in the West, in Western culture. It was a work which, so let me just back up and, what is Thucydides doing? Thucydides was writing about a great war, the great war of his time, and the Peloponnesian War between the Greeks and the Persians, but he conscientiously does not just tell the story of that war, but writes at the beginning, I am writing a tale for all time. He's writing about human nature and why men go to war and what motivates people. He talks about, fear, honor, interest, the things that every person who is going to be involved in life is going to benefit from understanding the principles of the causes of human action. To this day, actually, I have not checked recently, but so at least until recently, every graduate of West Point still reads, I hope, Thucydides. And one of my favorite eavesdropping the great conversation that we included in our Digressio magazine. I should have brought one here. If you've not subscribed, you can get a free physical copy in the mail. Was letters from John Adams to his son John Quincy Adams. And one of my favorite ones from our 2017 edition was a letter to John Quincy Adams from John Adams explaining to him why he should be reading Thucydides. And he was reading, I believe John Quincy was 17 years old at the time. This was right the years before 1776, right around then. And he was saying, this may not be interesting to you right now, but it is extremely important as we are founding a new nation. So even in our recent memory, this has been a very influential work. When the European Constitution was drafted not that long ago, I read one of the drafts. I don't know if it made it into the final one, but at the very beginning, there was a quote by Thucydides left in the original Greek at the top of it. Basically a throwback to understanding the importance of why nations come together, why they fight, why they unite. And so its influence is permeated in our culture, even though we don't realize it, even though we have stopped reading Thucydides, it's still extremely influential and an incredible work about understanding human nature. So the answer, of course, is read both ideally, but between those two, in spite of how colorful and how intriguing and how delightful it is to read Herodotus, if you have to choose between the two, I would still recommend Thucydides. So with that, I would, and one note is that our reader is slightly excerpted. We indicate very carefully about where we've taken out the small sections. So if you're looking for something on both Herodotus and Thucydides that's just most of the text is there, but this skips a few sections. You're wanting to get a little bit faster through the text. This would follow the exact schedule for Old Western culture and will be just a little bit shorter if you're concerned about the length. This entire work contains our selections from Herodotus, Thucydides, and Xenophon, and is not our thickest work, so it's very approachable. If you disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you decide to do Herodotus on the accelerated schedule, on the essential schedule, no problem. Do Herodotus. You can't really go bad between those two. But of course, the real answer is to read both. So If you have any other questions, let me know, and I'll be glad to answer them.